Yeah, in terms of price, it hasn't been so pretty. I think, a lot of the TA guys are calling for lower prices. I think, what we've been describing is still just kind of continued in terms of the accumulation that we've been describing. So that was kind of a broader theme of what was in this week's newsletter. But yeah, I think price has kind of been decoupling from what the kind of fundamental investment behavior is showing, and perhaps this still is, like we've been saying, it's just going to take a little bit longer than we had initially expected. But I still don't see any changes in kind of the reaccumulation that we've been describing.
Absolutely, and it feels like really the big takeaway here is people are selling. Price has been going down, but strong hands, the experienced market participants, they're just gobbling up all this Bitcoin. And one of the things that you wrote about was the illiquid supply chain metric. So maybe talk about, just remind everyone what that metric is and then what you're seeing in it.
Yeah, so this is a metric I think we've had in for the last 2 weeks, and it basically looks at the 30-day change between a liquid supply. So the way you can think of this is, Willie Woo calls it the Rick Astley indicator. I kind of call it like the strong hands indicator. It's showing, entities that have held Bitcoin for over 155 days would have statistically very low selling behavior. And so we're starting to see, that continued trend of supply moving to those entities. On Monday, this got up to the 30-day change got up to 95,800. So yeah, still seeing a continuation of that trend. And then kind of like going off of that, I've been working with Willie Woo a little bit. We've been kind of in touch over the last couple weeks. But we put together something called the liquid supply ratio, which is pretty much just a variant of that a liquid supply metric. And so this is just a very simple ratio of liquid supply to a liquid supply. And so what you see in this, when I presented the idea to Willie and he charted it out. And so he messaged me. He's like, this is really interesting. You look at the ratio and it's showing what's called a bullish divergence, which the oscillator is making higher lows while price is, of course, making lower lows lately. But what that's showing is that, strong hands are increasingly buying the dip, more so as we continue to go lower. But price is making lower lows. But this is like the most, I would say, most clear divergence that we've had since that big correction we had in late January, early March. I'm sorry, early February.